Hey dear chess enthusiasts! Today we will together continue to explore the exciting chess world, focusing on a chess piece that's crucial for controlling the chessboard, which is of course the bishop. In this video we will cover topics as the bishop's movement, its advantages and disadvantages throughout the development of a chess game. So starting of course with the opening, then the middle game of a chess match and finally the endgame. Let's not waste time anymore and jump right into it. First, let's talk about the bishop's movement. The bishops move diagonally across the whole board, which means that they can control longer distances in a single move. Each player has two bishops. One of them stands on a dark square and the other one on light squares, which means that they can only control squares of their own color. For example, the White Army's light squared bishop can only move and control light squares. So it can only move on these white squares or light squares and not on black squares like this. But still, this diagonal movement makes them excellent for controlling long stretches of the chessboard, reaching long stretches in a short span of time, especially when working together with other chess pieces of their own army. In the opening phase of a chess game, bishops are very often developed early to open squares and open lines, with the intention to control key areas and support other chess pieces of their own army. That's also the reason why many chess openings start with the moves e4 or also d4, because by these two moves you can instantly start developing your bishop on important squares, as for example c4, b5, or of course also for black then c5 and b4, and on the other side of course also on f4 or g5, or again for black on f5 and g4 like this. By developing your bishops you can instantly apply pressure on the center of the chessboard and also prepare for casting, which is crucial for king's safety. A simple example of an opening where this is demonstrated very well is for example the Italian game, also known as the Gioco piano opening. After pawns e4 and e5, white continues with knight f3, attacking the black e5 pawn. And after our opponent, or black, has defended the pawn with knight c6, we now develop our bishop on c4 right now, like this. So here you can see that this bishop right now is controlling many squares. He's controlling the center of the chessboard and is standing on a very active square. And of course he's also aiming at a very dangerous and interesting f7 pawn and f7 square by black. In the middle game, bishops can be extremely powerful in both, of course on the one hand defensive roles and on the other hand also attacking roles. The ability to control long distances across the whole chessboard and also to attack the opponent from a distance, from a long distance, just off the other side of the chessboard, makes them very strong and also annoying for your opponent. Bishops are particularly effective in open positions where there are not that many chess pieces left on the board and of course also less pawns left on the board. So they can control key squares and also work together in pairs. For example, there's the so-called very interesting bishop pair where two bishops work together to control squares and reach a common goal. And of course they also have the ability to pin other chess pieces, which is also very annoying. To demonstrate this, we can actually just stay here right now in the Italian game, aka the Gioco piano opening. If here black decides to choose the so-called Paris defense or Paris variation of the Italian game by playing pawn d6, we with white will most likely be tempted to develop our second knight on c3 like this. And if here now black decides to develop his bishop very aggressive on g4, pinning our knight on f3 to our queen, then by this he has now restricted the movement and development of the whole king side of white's army, and yes, just restricted of course this knight's movement right now. And now let's finally come to the endgame of a chess match. And here the value and the power of a bishop depends and can increase or decrease depending on the exact position on the chessboard. On the one hand, in open positions, a bishop can dominate the whole chessboard and also the whole game, especially if the opponent has pawns that match the color of the bishop. So for example, if the white army has a dark squared bishop and the opponent's pawns are standing on black, so dark squares, this is a big advantage for the white knight. But on the other hand, bishops have a big disadvantage in closed positions, in which, for example, a knight, the biggest enemy of the bishop, can dominate the whole chessboard by jumping around across other chess pieces of his own army and of course also of the opponent's army. Additionally, bishops can be less effective and powerful against pawns on the opposite color, or in positions where pawns are like blocking the bishop's movement and the bishop is like locked. The bad bishop scenario is a scenario where, yes, the bishop is just getting blocked by his own chess pieces. How you can see, for example, here in this position. Even though white has one pawn more, so an advantage of one pawn against his opponent, this bishop cannot get out here of the corner of the chess, but it can just move around from g1 to h2. And therefore white will lose the game even though they have an advantage of one pawn, because after the black knight has gotten on this square, he will capture the white bishop and black will have a big advantage against his opponent. Let's now come to a conclusion. To summarize the bishop's main advantages, we definitely have to include its long-range diagonal movement. Of course, also its ability to control large areas on the chessboard and its strengths in pairs. They are especially powerful in open positions and they can be pivotal by, yes, having a big role in defenses or in defending and of course also in attacking the opponent. But of course, no chess piece is perfect. And on the flip side, bishops are less effective in close positions where, for example, the knight excels by jumping over his obstacles. Bishops are often also limited to squares of his own color and they can be blocked by pawns. And this was it in audio with this video, which I have shown you the value and the power of the bishop. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, leave a like if you like this video and write down there in the comments about which other chess topics you want to have a brand new video on this channel about. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, until next time, bye!